I only have one statement before we start this video. Anybody who claims that Path of Exile 2 lacks diversity is completely wrong. This league alone, I've crafted and played over 10 different builds, and nearly all of them have successfully cleared T4 Pinnacle content and T16 juiced up maps. Today, I'm gonna narrow it down to my top 5 builds, but keep in mind, these are based on the ones that I have personally played and tested. If your favorite build doesn't appear here, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It simply means that I haven't created my own version of it yet to compare it fairly. All of this experimenting, theory crafting, and playtesting happens live over on Twitch, Kick, and here on YouTube. So choose the platform that you're most comfortable with and join us live. The links are going to be in the description. Now, 90% of the builds that I've playtested and tried out this league alone have their own dedicated endgame guides right here on the channel. And while every single one of them was both viable and fun, there are 5 that actually stand out as the best. But to get to the top 5, we firstly need to define what makes a build qualify as the best. But before we do that, something you guys might not know is that the small team over on Scorpius Entertainment has been preparing a massive, exciting project, and every single one of us has been using boot.dev to improve our skills for that project. Which is why I'm excited to say that this video is sponsored by boot.dev. With boot.dev, you can learn backend development the right way, with hands-on coding in Python, Go, and SQL. From day one, you're writing real code and building real projects, just like you do on the job. And for us, that has been huge. It helped us stay sharp while tackling stuff like databases and APIs behind the scenes of our project. And what sets it apart is the actual structure. You earn XP, complete quests, unlock a spellbook full of cheat sheets, and honestly, it keeps you coming back. And it actually pays off. Backend developers in the US made over $100,000 on average in 2024. You can test out any of their courses for free in guest mode, and if you decide to go premium, they've got a 30-day no questions asked refund policy. All you gotta do is click on the link below and use code Scorpius at checkout for 25% off your first payment. And you can also join our massive giveaway over on Discord, where we're gonna give away 2 gift codes for boot.dev's premium mode. Once again, thank you very much to boot.dev for the gift codes and for sponsoring this video. So, if you know how to theory craft and optimize your builds, almost anything in Path of Exile 2 can become viable. But for a build to stand out above the rest, it needs to tick every single box. Like I mentioned earlier, 90% of these builds already have full endgame guides on the channel. That means that they've cleared juice T16 maps and taken down T4 Pinnacle bosses. But when I'm talking about the top builds, I'm looking for 4 core metrics: mapping performance, Pinnacle boss performance, speed and consistency, and survivability. So at number 5, we have the Resonating Shield and Sunder Smith of Kitava Warrior. After over a week of experimenting and refusing to go down the Mjolnir route, I finally landed on a build that not only worked, but turned out to be insanely fun. For mapping, I went with the Resonating Shield, and let me tell you, it looks amazing and it feels great to play. To make this setup work properly, you'll need the Feathered Fortress Shield, which allows you to move normally while channeling Resonating Shield. This turns your playstyle into a smooth, unstoppable force of destruction. With support gems like Rage, Overpower, Break Posture, Armor Explosion, and Demolisher, you get fluid, uninterrupted mapping. You're constantly moving and clearing. No need to stop and cast, which covers for the build's lack of traditional movement speed. When it comes down to survivability, it's actually quite decent, but it heavily depends on your life regen and on-kill life recovery. The more sustain you build in, the closer you get to feeling straight up unkillable, thanks to how rapidly Resonating Shield clears enemies. For Pinnacle bosses, this build uses Sunder, and while the setup takes time, it's very satisfying when it goes off. Using Infernal Cry, Seismic Cry, Solar Orb, and Flammability, you can amplify your Sunder hits to the point where you're nearly one-shotting bosses. It might not be the most consistent or natural feeling boss killer, but when it works, it really works. So while it's not perfect in every category, it nails enough of the big ones to earn its place at number 5 on this list with a score of 7 out of 10. Coming at number 4, we have the Amazon Lightning Arrow build, a fast-paced high-damage machine built around Lightning Arrow and the devastating low-life tech. This is hands down one of my personal favorites, and while it only ranks 4th, don't let that fool you, the potential here is absolutely insane. The build centers around the Deepest Tower helmet, paired with the key passive nodes like Finishing Blows and Stars Aligned, which push the damage output into crazy territory. With this setup, Lightning Arrow becomes a rapid-firing death beam that one-taps nearly everything in its path. Add Herald of Ash and you not only boost your clear with overkill explosions, but the visuals look incredible too. The one major drawback? Squishiness. But there are answers for that too. Essentia Sanguis Gloves and the Mystic Harvest node provide crucial leech and sustain, helping you stay alive even while playing on the edge. When it comes down to pinnacle bosses, this build can melt them in seconds. We're talking up to 60 million in damage in just 2 seconds if you execute everything correctly. And that's the key, execution. This build demands precision. One small mistake in your rotation and your damage potentially drops significantly. It's not forgiving, but if you master it, the payoff is absolutely massive. It's stylish, powerful, and explosive, but also high risk. That's why the Amazon Huntress lands at number 4 on the list with a score of 8 out of 10. At number 3, we have the famous Deadeye build featuring Lightning Spear and Wind Serpent's Fury, a powerhouse that's earned its spot as a fan favorite, especially during the early stages of the league. With support gems like Volt, Fork, Primal Armament, Deliberation, and Longshot, and uniques such as Tangle Tongue, Sacred Flame, and Beacon of Aziz, this build has been voted top tier by tons of players, and for good reason. When it comes down to mapping, this build is smooth, consistent, and just flat out fun. It tears through most content effortlessly with only a few hiccups, like enemies with evade, or specific encounters like Simulacrum, where its precision can falter. As long as you don't miss your spears, you're golden. The Deadeye class itself brings excellent speed and flow, especially with Tailwind, making this one of the most enjoyable mapping experiences out there. It's fast, fluid, and it hits hard. On the pinnacle boss front, this build is fully capable of one-shotting T4 bosses, but it's all about execution. Your combo rotation needs to be perfect. The MVPs here are Wind Serpent's Fury, Cast on Critical, and Infernal Cry. They work in synergy, and none of them shine alone. When done right, Wind Serpent's Fury can instantly delete bosses, especially if they're back into a wall. But again, missing the ability or having the boss move at the wrong time can ruin that attempt. And that's the one downside that holds it back just enough to land at number 3. You've got the tools, the speed, the power, but like all high-risk, high-reward builds, it's all on you to make it shine. I'm giving this build a 9 out of 10. At number 2, we have what I personally considered the best build I played for a very long time until one finally dethroned it. It's the Blood Mage Lightning Spear with Rake and Blood Hunt, or as I like to call it, the Bleeding Spear Mage. Once again, Lightning Spear proved its strength, this time in the hands of a Blood Mage. Like the Deadeye, this version absolutely shreds maps, with Lightning Spear scaling up to 190k in damage, making even T16 juiced up maps feel effortless, as long as you land your shots. Unlike the Deadeye, the Blood Mage lacks raw speed, but it makes up for it with far better survivability. Thanks to Life Remnants, a core spell from the Blood Mage Ascendancy, you collect health orbs as you kill enemies, healing you and even doubling your HP. That extra layer of defense makes a huge difference in higher tier content compared to speed. Where this build really shines is on pinnacle bosses though. Yes, like most high damage builds, there's some setup involved, but the room for error is dramatically smaller. As long as you're close enough for your curse to apply, it's a simple rotation. Infernal Cry, Rake, Watch Them Bleed, and finish off with Blood Hunt. The combo is clean, reliable, and absolutely devastating. The effort required is lower, the consistency is higher, and the payoff feels incredible. Now, why is this number 2 instead of number 3? Well, it has comparable mapping damage to the Deadeye, and sometimes even more than the Deadeye depending on which path you take with your weapons. It's slightly slower, yes, but far tankier, and its bossing potential is significantly more consistent. Plus, the build diversity within the Blood Mage archetype is unmatched. You can take it in multiple directions, including the Sacred Flame path just like the Deadeye, Chernobog's Pillar Shield which can scale with block chance, Wrathpith Focus plus Crown of Ice, which you can scale with maximum HP, which is what I main, or Threaded Light Focus with Crown of Ice for spirit scaling. The options are limitless, which makes it an excellent choice for both budget and high-end players. And as proof, I even built a 200 Exalted Orb version, and guess what? It still one-shotted T4 Zesht. So while it didn't quite take the top spot, this is one of the most well-rounded, flexible, and satisfying builds I have personally ever played. So I'm giving this one a 9.2 out of 10. At the top of the list, claiming the #1 spot, we have the Stormwave Flicker Strike Invoker Monk. And yes, until recently, Blood Mage held that crown. But after spending time with this build, it's just that 1% better across the board. This build absolutely destroys maps, and I mean fully juiced up tier 18s effortlessly wiped out by Stormwave alone. With support gems like Martial Tempo, Inspiration, Mobility, Upheaval, and Innervate, along with abilities like Cast on Freeze, Voltaic Mark, and Charge Staff, Stormwave becomes a self-contained nuke that doesn't even care if you miss. Sure, Lightning Spear might have a wider clear, but if you miss, you miss. Stormwave? Every hit explodes, every enemy dies, and is just satisfying. But here's the twist. Stormwave isn't even our main mapping ability. That title goes to Flicker Strike. When timed properly, Flicker Strike gives you the mobility and speed clearing power needed to fly through maps in literally minutes. And thanks to Cast on Critical, you generate the charges needed for Flicker automatically without any micromanaging needed. You can choose to play the build with only clearing maps with Stormwave, you can go for a hybrid of Stormwave and Flicker every now and then, or you can go for a full-on Flicker mode and just bounce around the map non-stop. You never get bored with this build, and every map feels dynamic and fresh. And let's not forget, this is also the tankiest build in the entire top 5. With the right setup, you can push up to 7.5k energy shield without sacrificing damage, resistances, or evasion. It's an incredible balance of power and survivability. Now, for pinnacle bossing, this is where the build truly earns its crown. Unlike the other builds where the boss prep happens mid-fight, here it all happens before the boss even attacks. You simply sacrifice your own minions to stack charges, then hit the boss with Infernal Cry, Flicker Strike, and boom. T4 Arbiter deleted in one clean strike. But it's not without its own downsides. You'll need a lot of spirit to sustain this build, and thankfully, we have the Invoker Ascendancy node called Lead Me Through Grace that handles that elegantly. It's also very mana hungry, which means you're gonna need Mana Leech, Mana Recovery, and the Mana Remnant Aura, which is the equivalent of the Blood Mage's Life Remnants. And to support that required aura setup, you'll need at least 2 unset rings to unlock the additional ability slots. But honestly, those are just small trade-offs of what is, hands down, the most complete, powerful, and fun build that I have personally played this league. Whether you're mapping, bossing, or flexing your tanky setup in hardcore content, the Stormwave Flicker Strike Invoker Monk does everything, and it does it all beautifully. That's why it's my current #1 with a rating of 9.5 out of 10. These rankings and ratings are my personal top 5 based on my personal experience with all 13 builds that I have played this league so far. We're still going strong until the next league hits in August, so there's a good chance I'm going to be testing out even more builds before then. And as I mentioned before, all of this experimenting, theory crafting, and live playtesting happens live over on Twitch, Kick, and right here on YouTube. So pick the platform you're most comfortable with and come hang out live. Links are in the description below. You can find guides to every single build that I've tried this league right here on the channel, but if you're looking to jump straight into the absolute best of the best, just click on the Monk or the Blood Mage on screen right now to check out their full guides. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Peace.